Hello folks and welcome to a super sweet video. Today we're going to be playing Premodern Tribal Wars. That's right, we're going to be playing a version of Premodern that focuses solely on tribal decks. So there's going to be a lot of creature combat and we're going to be playing a super sweet deck that I have ready for you. This is organized by the Magic Online Society, so shout out to them. And let's take a look at the rules and let's see what all of this is about. So before anything else, let's look at the rules of Premodern Tribal Wars. We're going to be playing 60 card decks, but we need to have 20 cards of a chosen creature type. This really limits what you can do in deck building, but it also is pretty good because it boosts creativity, right? Like with these restrictions, it's going to be a lot more interesting to build decks because you can't just, jump Phyrexian Dreadnoughts and just call it a Phyrexian deck. You know what I'm saying? I'm really looking forward to this because I think that this is very interesting, especially considering what we have over here, which are the banned cards. This ban list is very specific to the format that we are talking about right here. So we're going to add to the regular Premodern ban list, we're going to add cards like Engineered Plague, Extinction, Sabo's Decree, all cards that really punish you for playing creatures. Same thing with Humility. And then we're going to be also banning the power level outliers. So you will see Gem Pump Polluter, Goblin Lackey, Lean Civic, Korean Ranger. All of these cards are a little bit too powerful for what this format is about. Same thing with Survival. So because of that, we're going to be trying out some new cards that may not otherwise see play in regular Premodern, and we're not going to see a bunch of cards that often do. So very excited to give it a shot. So let's take a look at the deck. And this is what we're going to be playing in this event. One of my favorite tribes is probably my actual favorite tribe ever. Crystalline Sliver, Hibernation Sliver, Muscle Sliver, Wing Sliver. This is Slivers indeed. We're going to be playing probably one of the single most synergistic, one of the coolest tribes to ever do it. We're going to be trying this in a shell that I have tried in the past in actual Premodern that I thought was very, very cool and very interesting. I needed to make some adaptations in order to fill up the quota that the rules for this event actually require. So you will notice that we have 21 creatures, and we don't have as many cantrips as I wish I had access to, but hopefully that's going to be okay, because we're going to be just raw powering through this league. Hopefully. Lots of synergy going on. Plated Sliver is the best one-drop sliver. It also back in the day, a 1-mana 1/2 was slightly above curve, I would even say. Muscle Sliver, one of the best slivers that we have. Bumps all of your other sliver. Absolutely spectacular. If we could have access to 12 copies of this card, we would probably play them. The single best sliver of them all, Crystalline Sliver, 2-mana 2/2 that gives everything Shroud. Make all of your creatures untouchable is a fantastic effect. So yeah, this one's pretty good. Wing Sliver to make sure that all of our dudes fly through. Then Talon Sliver is not that powerful, but I do expect, in a format where everybody's required to play at least 20 creatures, First Strike seems like a particularly powerful keyword to have access to. So in the version that I was playing in Premodern, I played no copies of this card, but I feel like in this specific context, this card is going to be fantastic. Just playing a bunch of slivers and then just having something like 10 or 12 First Strike power, like divided amongst multiple bodies, is going to just board stall a bunch of board states. And then we can afterwards play a Wing Sliver to attack, hopefully, and close the game in a single attack. And then we finally have like a Singleton Blade Sliver that is just like a kind of not great sliver, but it is what it is. Like, I need another thing to bump creatures. And finally, some Hibernation Sliver. This one is fantastic in regular Slivers decks in Premodern because it's like a 2-mana 2/2. That's like the best possible rate that you can get for a sliver, because usually 2-mana slivers are 1/1s and you need Muscle Sliver to actually start doing some damage. But as a 2-mana 2/2, this card can brawl by itself. And then by paying 2 life, notably no mana at all, you can save all of your sliver from wrath effects, you can save them from Engineered Plagues, you can save them from removal. It's an actually super powerful sliver, but in the context of this format in particular, I'm not sure how good this is going to be. What we're doing though is we're playing all of this within the context of like a Gro-a-Tog like style shell. So we have a bunch of islands and some fetches, and then we have a gush and foil, 4 gushes, a Singleton foil, and then some cantrips. I as I said, I wish I had access to more, but you know, I needed to cut some cantrips in order to make room for creatures, because I definitely wanted to make sure that I have 4 Swords of Blushers. These are going to be a must in this particular context, and then some counter spells as well. But yeah, this deck looks super fun. I really enjoyed every time I played this deck in regular Premodern, and playing it in the context of just an old tribal deck seems like very good, because Slivers to me seems like in terms of synergy they are the most synergistic tribe of them all, and they're kind of unbeatable once you get the ball rolling. They really dominate combat in such a definitive way that I really have high hopes for this deck. In the sideboard, we have to play some amount of creatures because of what, you know, the requirements. So I want to make sure that I have some active sideboarding to be doing. So I have the 4th copy of Winged Sliver for matchups where the board is going to be way too clogged up. Then we have Victual Sliver against opposing aggro decks of sort. Blitz Sliver when I need to race. And then Essence Sliver, probably another one that really shines in the context of this format, but I'm not super high in the context of normal Premodern. What I am super hyped of is Worship. Worship plus Crystalline Sliver is effectively a lock, so unless your opponent has access to Wrath of God in their 20 creature deck, then I don't think that there's many ways. Maybe something like Pyroclasm, which I could see some like big creature decks that sideboard Pyroclasm or something like that. Unless they have something of that effect, or Powder Keg or whatever, it's going to be really hard for them to beat this lock. And then we have a Ray of Revelation, Disenchant. Unclear how powerful these cards will be in this context, but we'll see. And then Counterspell, some Hydroblast against red decks. Goblins, as we saw, is pretty hindered, but there could be other red decks. I saw some Barbarian decks that looked very cool, so I wanted to have access to some Hydroblast effects. Counterspell is just kind of a generic card for when my opponent has some pretty big haymakers. And 2 copies of Curse Stone, and this card seems like it could potentially be fantastic against certain strategies, but again, I have no idea what to expect. So yeah, this is going to be the decklist that we're going to be playing. Looks super fun, and I cannot wait to try it out. So let's explore this brand new format, and let's see what it has to offer. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you for round number 1. First ever Premodern Tribal Wars match. This hand looks pretty good. Let's keep this. We got some cantrips to set things up. We already have double plated sliver. Not bad. Sarcomancy. So actually, I think I want to lead on plated sliver here. The reason for that is that I can next turn second plated sliver into portent, and that actually makes my slivers into 1/3s, which are going to be pretty good at holding off some zombie. I have to play around removal, however, so I may not just block until the muscle sliver is in play. Carnophage, another Sarcomancy. It's a lot of stuff. Well, I can't play that one, unfortunately. So let's portent myself, see what we draw. Winged Sliver, not really what I'm looking for right now. So I'm just going to shuffle. And let's play the second plated sliver and pass the turn. Gush is not bad. I can look for a Mox now. Pretty good Lord right there. So we're going to take a bunch of damage. But yeah, I think we're under a lot of pressure here. So I'm going to have to just try to do this right now. And we're just going to, I guess we get to portent first and see whether there's a Mox. Okay, perfect. So we're going to say no to the shuffle. We're going to keep all of these on top. Then we're going to float a mana, Gush, play Mox, pitch the island, and play Muscle Sliver and play another plated sliver. So now my dudes are 2/5s. Next turn we get to play another plated sliver and another Muscle Sliver. So as long as we survive this turn, we should be in pretty decent shape. My opponent could have Gempan Polluter though, so we're not really out of the woods. Polluter plus Lord is definitely a pretty great combination. That's another one. That's problematic. Okay, looks like my opponent doesn't quite have it. All right, we untap, and if we play Muscle Sliver number 2, now everybody's a 3/6. My opponent can drain for 5. It's not quite enough to kill me. I can also play Winged Sliver. So I guess if they drain, they lose, but they have the option of doing it. I can only swing for 15. Yeah, I guess I have to play out the Muscle Sliver and just send the turn back. We're going to be able to swing for 15 next turn. The ideal scenario, if we draw an island, we gush into, I guess we're looking for specifically what? Oh, they just attack with double factory, never mind. Oh, they don't. So I guess I need Swords to Plowshares here to force the issue. I think my opponent has Mislethal. I think they're just playing around Swords to Plowshares, which makes sense. But this is not good enough. I'm just gonna swing for 15 and then my opponent just kills me on the crackback. They can drain for 6. Yeah, it's not quite good enough. So I'm just gonna concede. Let's move on to the next game. So Essence Sliver seems pretty good here, and Worship seems unbeatable. Actually, no. Worship doesn't get around life loss. Yeah, this only prevents damage, so I don't care for Worship. We do want probably Victual Sliver. Don't think we care for Hibernation Sliver. Don't think Counterspell is really where I want to be. Same with Foil. Let's bring in another, I guess, Blade Sliver. I could bring in Disenchant. It deals with the lands, can also deal with something like a Bad Moon. So I guess I'd rather have Ray of Revelation as a one-off. But yeah, kind of awkward that Worship doesn't actually do anything here. Talon Sliver, probably more relevant than Wing Sliver. So, and I really want Blade Sliver because the being able to like brawl with them with equal power seems very important. Okay, let's see what we got. It's actually a pretty decent opener here. Our mana is covered. We probably have like one too many islands, but that's fine. We can go Plated into Crystalline into Muscle. Pretty decent curve. Plated Sliver, Carrion Feeder. That's not one you see every day. Let's get in there for 1. Talon Sliver's not bad when my opponent's trying to get in through combat. Shepherd. That's a nice pickup. So I think we're racing. Swinging for 5. We have a 2-3 Shroud in play. Yeah, this is looking super good for us. Like my opponent can't even attack with the Carrion Feeder. Actually, I think I'd rather just play out the Talon Sliver and play out the land. I don't think I care about the Mox here. Just gonna continue attacking. Like we have Swords of Plowshares. I don't think there's any way, with missing the land drop, I don't think there's any way my opponent can win here. Yeah, just went like the classic curve, just playing Sliver Saggro. That was cool. All right, now on to game 3. Cursed Totem is interesting, but I just don't think it does enough. It stops Shepherd of Rot. It doesn't stop the other Cycler. It stops, I guess it does stop Carrion Feeder. On the draw, is that better than Counterspell? It may be. Yeah, I guess I'd rather have Cursed Totem than Counterspell. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to leverage Counterspell pretty well. I honestly feel like maybe Foil is better as a one-off. Let's just go with this. Maybe the Cursed Totem are just overboarding. Maybe it's just not impactful enough. Yeah, this hand looks great. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have such an aggressive draw as the previous one. It's pretty aggressive though. Ooh, let's play Mox, pitch Flooded Strand, play Island. We can go Crystalline Sliver. Yeah, let's just do that. We're gonna play Crystalline Sliver this turn and then Muscle Sliver next turn. That Mox was a very good draw. It just turbocharged my hand. Yeah, I'll take 2. Slivers are just so good when your opponent's just trying to play a combat style game. Yeah, so with my opponent doing only that this turn, I think I'm just going to... Okay, I'm not hitting land drop, so I'm just going to shuffle here. Definitely looking for a land. Swing for 2. Perfect. So now we're going to be looking pretty good here. If my opponent plays a Lord, I just plow it. So kill the Lord, take 2. It's not bad. I like that quite a bit. So play that, play a land, and if my opponent plays another Lord, I think I'd rather just attack here. And then we can start to swing the race thanks to Victual Sliver. The problem is, if I hold the Crystalline Sliver back to block and then my opponent just plays another Lord, I'm not willing to trade. So that puts me in a really bad spot where I just missed out on 3 points of damage against a Carnophage, right? So I think that taking the aggressive line here, yeah, I'm super rewarded for taking this line. So now we can very safely attack. Oh, now my opponent plays the defense game. I think I want to gush. Nice. Very nice. So now we get to go stake a point, second Crystalline Sliver, Talon Sliver. Now all my dudes have first strike. I can super safely attack with Crystalline Sliver and my opponent has no choice but to take it, and like they literally cannot get through my defenses. They still need to be paying life for this Carnophage. Next turn we get to deploy the Victual Sliver, which I guess we're not gonna be able to leverage too well. We're still at 15. That Mox draw was incredible. Like, I think without this Mox draw, my opponent would have been able to race me back. But because I drew the Mox, it was just kind of unreal. All right, cool. That was a very, very cool first match. Here we go. Another pretty decent draw. So let's keep this. We don't have a crazy curve, but I mean, 1 into 2 into 2 probably should be enough to really cover our bases and limit what my opponent can do in combat, which is pretty good. Okay, that's not a bad draw at all. Redundant muscle slivers are always welcome. We're gonna be taking a lot of damage from this CD of Brass. Basic Forest. I wonder what my opponent's up to over there. Wall of Roots. Don't care about that too much. We have Winged Sliver for whenever we want to start getting into that. I'm going to deploy the Muscle Sliver here. Not only does it bust my dudes, but it also uses my mana a lot more efficiently. Within the constraints of this format, Hibernation Sliver loses a lot of oomph because I doubt that there's going to be too many Wrath of God decks. Annurid Brush Hopper. That's a card. Okay, another City of Brass is not bad. It actually allows me to double spell here. So I think the best course of action is going to be to continue developing my board, eventually just go ahead and play Wing Sliver and go over the top. Most likely saving these Swords to Plowshares for anything that can outgrow my dudes. Cycle Croson Tusker. That's value. I guess if I just, with my opponent doing that, I can just play Wing Sliver and just win over 2 attacks. Swing for 9 the first time around. Yeah, this actually looks great. Let's just do that. My opponent could have Swords to Plowshares, but they can't have 2 of them. So they can plow the Wing Sliver, then they block 2 of my dudes, but like they can't actually, profitably block with Brush Hopper. In actual Premodern, I don't know. Oh wow, Natural Order? Okay. Let's see what my opponent can do here. Natural Order for Bailoff. I guess that's a way to do that. So they're just doing that to survive. That's a pretty good draw. So I think I want to deploy both of my threats because they actually give me a little bit of insurance. Okay, my opponent concedes. Man, Slivers are so sweet. Playing against Beasts for the looks of it. I think this is going to be another matchup where Essence Sliver... I mean, maybe Essence Sliver should just be my main deck, honestly. I tried to, respect and take into account the rules of engagement of the format. So obviously creature combat is going to be a lot more important. So if I were playing regular Premodern, I'm not even sure that I would play even a single copy of Talon Sliver. But obviously taking into account the current, where everybody is everybody's going to be playing creatures. A card like that has First Strike effectively blanks all of your opponent's offense. And then a card like Hibernation Sliver loses a lot of stock. While it's obviously fantastic if we were playing, actual regular Premodern. So those are definitely things to keep into account. Once again, I don't think this is a Cursed Totem matchup. What could my opponent have? I mean, Worship just seems spectacular, right? If I ever make it to 4 mana, that effectively locks up the game against the Beast deck. Talon Sliver seems great, Wing Sliver seems great. Probably don't need Blade Sliver, so let's bring in another Wing Sliver here and just call it a day. Yeah, this hand looks pretty decent. Let's keep. How to sequence our Slivers is going to be super interesting. Mox, most likely my best draw there. That's not what we drew, so we're just going to lead on island, send the turn back. I don't really want to play Muscle Sliver as my very first threat, because my opponent could have, like Swords to Plowshares, they could have some form of removal. Okay, so let's actually deploy Wing Sliver here. Well, actually, that was wrong. I should have played City of Brass, because now I cannot double spell next turn. Yeah, there we go. So now my opponent's Swords to Plowshares that instead of Muscle Sliver or Talon Sliver, which are much more valuable for me. So we're not sure whether my opponent's splashing red. So I don't know if I should fear Lightning Bolt. Ugh, another City of Brass. It's not great. I think we're gonna gush next turn. So let's play Muscle Sliver here. We want to hope to dodge another Swords to Plowshares. Them drawing a Burst of Paradise is pretty good for me. Wow, pretty bird flooded over there. No blocks, thank you very much. And play land down to 1 card in hand. That's a good pickup. So let's gush, see what we find. Ugh, that's really bad. Fetch, because I don't want to take infinite damage here. Let's play Talon Sliver, Plated Sliver here. Actually, the other option would be to, yeah, I think I just want to play out Talon Sliver here. Plated Sliver. The other option would be to just like chill. And I think I'm not going to block because we get blown out by a single removal spell. But the other option would be to just send the turn back and simply hold up Swords to Plowshares. Because this threatens, we have 2 blockers for the Bailoff. Okay, this answers the splashing red question, so we should be scared of Lightning Bolt. But this allows me to, even if my opponent has a removal spell, I can still, they attacked into 2/3 first striking. So they clearly have a removal spell. Oh my god. Contested Cliffs? That's insane. Woo, baby. That's a card. That's a fine pickup. I guess not actually great. I would much rather have any sort of boost. We have Swords to Plowshares here, so I'm not too afraid of Contested Cliffs here anymore. Can't believe that this can be activated instant speed. I do have to respect my opponent having removal though. Play another island and we're just going to attack with all the kids. And if my opponent threatens to activate the cliffs, we just plow the Baloth. Yep, there you go. So this contested cliff is going to destroy us. So we definitely need to find something here. That wasted land drop is going to be extremely costly. So now my opponent has a couple of turns to find another threat. Oh my god, that's a brutal draw. So I guess my best draw would be Essence Sliver? I don't even know. Probably just Crystalline Sliver. I guess Gush, right? Obviously the answer is Gush. But then after Gush, I'm really looking for a threat here. I guess Counterspell also wouldn't be bad. But this Contested Cliffs is going to destroy me. That's a beast. That's going to start plowing down all my creatures. Yep. Removal or Sliver, or Crystalline Sliver, Essence Sliver. Yeah, I actually can't attack. So, yep, just gonna play this one out and just pass the turn back, I guess. Oh, they had the plow. Oh, we're kind of dead now. So, oh man, one turn too late. Now we're gonna be on the play. We don't have anything against lands besides Armageddon. Oh, I actually cut the Armageddon, never mind. I had it in my sideboard and then ended up cutting while trying to finish up the deck. Yeah, let's go with this. There's an argument for the Blade Sliver there, but I don't think I want to be doing that. This is a risky keep, but I'll keep it nonetheless. Double cantrip. There's no way that I whiff on a second land, right? No way I can whiff on a second land. I'm calling it. So we definitely don't want to shuffle this. Let's go top for everything. The option is Counterspell or Cantrip. I think I do want the land, so I'm just going to hold up Counterspell this turn. If my opponent plays a wall, I'm probably countering it. Oh, Library? Yeah, we're definitely countering that one. So now we get Undiscovered Paradise. It's Portent, myself. More lands. I don't think I care about that, so I think we're just going to shuffle and play a land. I'm not deploying the Winged Sliver because I think my opponent has removal in hand. Or Chief. Gonna have to kill that one. So that's gone. Talon Sliver, Muscle Sliver, Plains, another Portent. I guess this is fine. And we want to draw these two. No shuffle. We're gonna deploy the Talon Sliver first. Is that Histrodon? Please be Histrodon. So let's look what we got here. Huh. I really need the Shroud Sliver, so I think I'm just gonna shuffle this. And let's swing. I feel like that's definitely a Histrodon. It's gotta be. They did miss a land drop last turn, so that would probably mean that if they flip Histrodon, I need to draw exactly a white source if they want to start plowing my stuff. Cycle Tusker. Okay, so they're not... I mean, they probably still have Source to Plowshares, I guess. Oh, they get a Forest. Interesting. Not getting a white source. Gush is not great here, but we do have some stuff that we can do. So let's swing for 4. As long as we continue dodging Contested Cliffs, we may be in okay shape. But now my opponent's mana issues seem to be gone. Not gonna block. If they want to flip the Histrodon, that's fine. Fetch down to 14. And what now? Notably leaving up white mana. Oh, they immediately plow the Flying Sliver. Island's not bad. I'm gonna have to pass the turn, unfortunately. Can't really attack. Next turn I can Gush into Worship potentially, but Worship is not really doing anything in this current board state. We are forcing my opponent to have access to Source to Plowshares. Oh, they can regen now. Interesting. That's a cool curve. Alright, Gush, get me out of this mess. Please and thank you. So, play Island. I guess I want to play Crystalline Sliver first, and then play Worship next turn. The Worship is not really doing anything here, and thanks to the Mox, we can deploy it next turn. So now we don't have to worry about removal anymore, which is obviously great. And we have a bunch of First Strikers, so combat definitely looking good for me. Okay, so block here and here. Does my opponent have a pump effect? I'm super dead to a pump effect. I'm super dead to a pump effect. Maybe I should have taken the Baloth hit and throw everything in front of this suspected Histrodon. It was a Histrodon. Now what? Shroud, baby. So here my opponent made a misstep. They told me that they just forgot how regen works. Which honestly makes sense. Like, that feels like a reason to make this attack. So that was definitely a misplay. Unfortunate for them. But yeah, obviously, like, with Sliver here in play, like, literally the only thing I'm afraid of is specifically like a Giant Growth effect. That'd be kind of sick though, right? If my opponent just threw a Might of Oaks on this Histrodon, how insane would that be? Okay, so my opponent got some value there, but, you know, Wall of First Strikers is pretty decent. That's a draw. Wow. Mox Diamond, pitching the island here. and Essence Sliver. So I guess I even get to gain 3 here if I want. I guess might as well. Because if my opponent double blocks, I just put the Cross on War Chief first and I kill it. And yeah, so they just have the... This is a free block, but I gain 3, so that's great. All right, send the turn back. Now we have a beefy 4/5 Essence Sliver. All my dudes first strike. We're living the life here. We're definitely living the life. Now if my opponent draws Contested Cliffs, it doesn't even matter because we have the Crystalline Sliver. Nishoba. How often do you get to say, oh yeah, Nishoba, whatever. That's not something you get to say every day. True here though. Yep, okay. Creature matchup and somehow Nishoba basically irrelevant. We have no attacks here, so we're basically just waiting for another Wing Sliver to show up. Or for enough, so this is also not a good attack. We just block with everybody and we just gain a bunch of life. Unless they have a way to give this first strike. Oh no, this prevents damage? Did I just mess this up? I think I may have messed this up. Yeah, I totally messed this up. Yeah, never mind. Nishoba very relevant here. Oh wow. So I guess we traded a punt for a punt. Wow, big misstep. Okay, so now Contested Cliffs is back to be in an out for my opponent. That's a good draw though, gosh. Best draw in the business. Okay, I'm just gonna play a second Worship for good measure. And unfortunately I can't attack. Wow, that was a pretty big misstep. Guess I just forgot how Nishoba works. Didn't even gain any life at all. This is cool though. This is some very, very cool interactions that we're seeing here. We're all forgetting how things work. Alright. Take 6. Opponent gets to gain some life. Not playing around Tranquil Domain here, but I think it's much better for me to play around Naturalize than Tranquil Domain. Natural Order. For second Nishoba. Okay. No Wing Sliver. So we play on. So it's going to get to a point where we're just going to be trading. My opponent's going to be at a gazillion life. And it's going to be a matter of can they find a removal spell before I find another Crystalline Sliver after I threw this one away for no reason. I mean, actually for a good reason. I just did not know how the rules worked. Okay, so now we lose. Contested Cliffs really limits the amount of time that I have here. I'm being saved by these Worships, but... I mean, I guess all I need to do is just find the Crystalline Sliver. Once I do find the Sliver, and I have exactly, I guess, 4 turns to find the Crystalline Sliver. Although at that point, it just becomes a decking issue, funnily enough. This is hilarious. This not being a triggered ability and just like soaking up all of my things, like it was kind of a big deal there. Okay, cool. All right, so we play on. So now we just never block ever again. My opponent just keeps on attacking with their Nishobas. And we have to get into a point where we just have enough. Guess I'll play out this Undiscovered Paradise, why not? We just have to have enough stuff and flying in order to break through. And we have to hope my opponent doesn't actually have 2 Naturalizes in their deck, which is not super likely that they have no Naturalizes. Now we got an Essence Sliver, and we'll see what happens. I think my opponent should be attacking with their Nishobas. Like, I cannot block, keep passing the turn. Eventually, I'm gonna draw something. I think this may literally be a decking game, because my opponent can gain a lot of life. They can start sacking their dudes. So I think that if they start swinging with Histrodon, which I don't think they're going to, but if I start attacking, then they probably can start to swing with Histrodon. Okay, so there's a Muscle Sliver. Things are starting to look up. Ray of Revelation. Brutal. My opponent should have definitely hit that for sure. My opponent asked if I regen, if I do gain life. I'm like, yeah, I do. But yeah, this is mostly a matter that this just starts to... I think if they attack all, I lose. Especially because they can just like sack things. So I need to throw both of these under the bus, but unfortunately I have to block them, and these are going to trade with my dude, so I have to block here. Oh my god, this is so brutal. Oh, never mind. Okay. So this one we block here, because then first strike damage is going to shrink the Nishoba, so it's just going to be a 4-power creature. So this one's fine. This is the problematic one, so I need to just throw both Plated Slivers in front of this one, I think. Yeah, I think that's the play. So now first strike damage, these dudes get a little bit smaller. Still a 4/5. Opponent gains some life, but I don't take any damage. I also don't gain any life. And now pass the turn. All right, something good here. That's a very good one. Good. It's a really good one. Okay, so that I think just covers up the Nishobas now. So my opponent cannot continue to use Nishobas as free attackers, because now I just throw the Essence Sliver in front of this one and then like the Crystalline Sliver in front of the 4/4, and now we are cool. So it does look like we may have stabilized here thanks to this first striking goodness. Removal doesn't really matter. Sure, I guess I'll gush. Not great. On the plus side, it's possible that I just don't have lands anymore, right? Let's do a quick land count. That's 11 lands that I've drawn. It's a healthy amount. Plated Sliver. Sure. Man, what a weird game. What a weird game. I thought that I couldn't lose, then I thought that I couldn't win, and now I think that I can't lose? Question mark? Big question mark. Play a Plains and send the turn back. I mean, we have to draw Winged Sliver, and then what we do is we start to attack slowly with probably just like a couple of creatures at a time. Another Muscle Sliver's not bad. So I think the play is going to be for my opponent to start chump blocking my birds, trump blocking my dude with birds, and then using Phantom Nishoba with contested cliffs in order... Oh no, this is only creatures your opponents control. Never mind. I was gonna say maybe they can prevent me from gaining life by using contested cliffs as a way to fight their birds. Oh, they have another Nishoba? Oh, but this is a 6/8, so it doesn't matter. My dudes are just too beefy. Still no Winged Sliver. I have all 4 of them in the deck, so I've only drawn 1, I think, which got plowed. I guess my opponent could also have something like Lightning Bolt, Earthquake maybe. That would be a very cool way to go. More lands. Play out a City of Brass for good measure. Even if I drew all of the remaining cards in my deck, still probably don't have enough to use all the mana that I have access to, which is pretty funny. My opponent's deck is cool. How insane is it that like this little baby Slivers are just holding my opponent's entire beast army? Slivers are so sweet, man. So at this point it's going to be a matter of how quickly can I find the Winged Sliver. I guess I'm gonna gush. Might as well. Like it's basically Winged Sliver or bust. That's the name of the game here. Source to Plowshares is a little bit of insurance. It also prevents my opponent from blocking, which is very nice. So I just plow the Verse of Paradise. And as soon as I find the Winged Sliver, I can start flying over. Oh, come on, man. Ugh. Play a land, I guess, and send the turn back. We may be getting to the point where if I don't find Winged Sliver in the next, like, 2 draw steps or something, maybe 2 is too little, but like 4 draw steps, I may literally don't have enough to race my opponent. Like there's going to be too much life and I'm just going to deck before we're able to get there. Maybe I honestly should have not even cast the gush because I allowed my opponent to look at more cards. Now they have library going. All right, opponent just drawing some cards, doing my work for me. I'm assuming they must have outs. They have to, right? They're being a little bit aggressive here. Natural Order. Once again, discarding their potential blocker for a Tusker. Natural Order for Tusker is so sick. Natural Order for Tusker is insane. Oh man, never finding these Winged Slivers. There's 3 in the bottom 12 cards of my deck. They're paying life. Okay, so now we're ahead in the decking race, which is good for me. I've not really done the math, but I'm pretty sure we can gain a lot of life. Another bird. Opponent passes the turn. Winged Sliver? Source to Plowshares. Okay, so I guess we got damage covered. Send the turn back. Unless my opponent has a bolt or something, we're most likely not taking lethal. They're paying a lot of life, so I'm assuming they're digging towards something? Another War Chief. No. God damn it. It's just never gonna happen. We're just never gonna find the Winged Sliver, huh? Of all the axes this game was gonna be played on, clock was not what I would have expected to end with. At one point I thought there was gonna be a damage game. Then I thought it was gonna be an actual decking game. But it's starting to look like this just may be a clock game. It's gonna get to a point where my opponent's just gonna be forced to attack with everything and just hope that the math works out. Just right click, YOLO, math is for blockers kind of deal. Going to need to do a lot of math for what's worth. So, yeah. Triple Source to Plowshares makes me feel pretty safe. Oh, I guess that I'm not gaining life because my opponent can... Alright, so I guess the move is once my opponent attacks with everything, I need to plow both Ravenous Baloth to prevent... all 3 Ravenous Baloths, I guess, to prevent my opponent from sacking their creatures to it, so that I can guarantee that I gain life. Yeah, okay, now, there we go. So my opponent's going all in. We're going to, step number 1, plow Baloth number 1. Opponent's gonna sack it. Then plow Baloths number 2. Because I need to guarantee that I'm gonna be gaining all of the life from this Essence Sliver. And plow Baloths number 3. So now my opponent can regen all of their dudes, but I'm gonna be taking nothing or not enough damage, and then I can go from there. But yeah, my opponent basically had no outs, and they needed to make sure that that worked. Wow, that was awesome. That was crazy. My opponent said I should have just decked you. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, I mean, honestly, like 3 Wing Slivers in the top 9 cards of my deck is, you know, I guess it would have been like in the bottom 7. But yeah, I mean, that would have given me 7 turns to get there. I don't know. I honestly don't know who would have gotten there if my opponent had gone for the other line. But Slivers looks very good in this format. Round number 3, let's do this thing. So this hand's a little bit sketchy. We're missing Colored Source, so we can only really cast 1 of our cards. So I think I'm gonna ship it. This is better. And I'm interested in bottoming the City of Brass. I feel like the redundant copy doesn't really do anything for me. But this is a pretty interesting defensive hand, actually, because we can go turn 1, Plated Sliver, turn 2, Talon Sliver. That's going to put us in a very good defensive position. Opponent with the turn 1 Snow-Covered Plains, so an mulligan to 5. Let's see what they're up to. Bird? Okay, fine pickup. So just a 2-mana 1/1, huh? So we're just gonna swing. I expect some number of like Crusade effects in my opponent's deck, but I'm just going to like try to develop as aggressively as possible. Soul Catcher. That one's gonna die. I'm gonna allow. Ooh, nice pickup. I mean, I guess it doesn't really change anything, so I guess I might as well play out the Blade Sliver. Yeah, because this is a 1/1. Yeah, so I'm just going to like pitch the Undiscovered Paradise here and just play the Blade Sliver. We get to be very aggressive here. Puts my opponent in a situation where sure, they can just block with the 1/1, like throw it away, but then they're just time walking themselves. And they grow the Soul Catcher, but then next turn and then we're gonna be in good shape. Okay, that's a problem. So now they get to flash it back immediately. I mean, we're still kind of just killing them. So there's that. I imagine my opponent's gonna like block here. Yeah, because they're hoping that it can grow their thing, but now we just plow the bird and we put them in a really awkward spot. All they have is 2 1/1s and I guess the other hawk. Like that's fine. I can just let that resolve. Yeah, all of this is just fine. The only thing I really care about is like a Crusade style effect. But yeah, my opponent just packs it in. Okay, so actually Wing Sliver not very good here. So let's get rid of that one. And what else do we have? Blade Sliver looks fine. And we do need at least 20 creatures, so we're just going to bring in the Essence Sliver just to make sure we have our creature count high enough. Also, I guess it's pretty good, so let's bring it in. But yeah, definitely it's gonna be a good one there. Do I want Worship is the question. I think I want Ray of Revelation. Let's do that over a counter spell. And let's call it a day. I'm not super high on Hibernation Sliver, but like it's fine. I feel like it's just okay. That's a hand. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. This is a hand. Does not look half bad, huh? So play Mox, pitch City, and I guess I'm gonna spend this turn. I kind of want to set things up a little bit, so I think I mean, it's really hard to double spell. If I had one more land, I would just play a 2-drop here. The problem is, if I'm looking for another land, that's gonna be really awkward. So I think I'm just gonna Portent this turn. Plated Sliver, Crystalline Sliver. These are all great cards, but I really need a land, I think. So any order and shuffle. And we're just going to Portent again. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep these up. These are fun enough for me, I guess. No shuffle. So we're just gonna draw all of those. So this makes potentially my mana a little bit awkward, but I can pass the turn next turn. Whenever a bird is put into a graveyard, you put a feather counter on this, and then birds gain +1/+1 for each feather counter on this. Pretty strong. So we're really gonna be looking for that Ray of Revelation, are we? Yeah, it seems like a fine counter spell target, just so I can use my mana. Let's lead on Gush here, see what we find. Not much actually, so I'm just gonna play this Essence Sliver and just pass the turn. Next turn we get to play Muscle Sliver, gain some life, which is pretty nice. Glorious Anthem, but opponent's got no creatures though. If I find the City of Brass, that would be great. Allows me to just, yeah, I guess I'll take that. So now we can just spend this turn to deploy Muscle Sliver plus Plated Sliver. Swing for 4, game 4. We're looking really good. If my opponent's playing a Wrath of God effect, they got me. Can't play Humility, but you can play Wrath of God though. Knowing that they have this many enchantments, I'm really into bringing in those disenchants that I left in the graveyard. Okay, let's play another one of these bad boys. And I guess I'm gonna play out the Flooded Strand. Allows me to plow something if I need to. This game looks pretty over, honestly. My opponent just not doing anything really. I'm at the casual 32. whatever threat they play, I just immediately Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, protections from creatures would be good, except it's the first threat that they play, so been sitting on the Swords to Plowshares all this time. Opponent just backs it in. They're like, yeah, I've seen enough. Yeah, this one wasn't close. My opponent's draw was a little bit too awkward. Took too long to hit their land drops, and my hand was just kind of amazing because, you know, Portent. Portent's very good in this kind of shell. See you for the next one. Round number 4, we have a super controlling hand. I think I'm gonna keep it, but I really don't want to draw any more lands. What's really making me want to keep this is the fact that we actually have 2 islands, so if we start drawing gushes, we're gonna be in good shape. Wizards, okay. I think I'm gonna pitch the City of Brass, then play an island and say go. I guess if they do nothing, I'm gonna plow this, but I'm not super stoked about it or anything. Another one of these. Okay. Well, I guess we're playing one of them. I don't think I want to waste the counterspell on this. Okay, Portent. Let's see what we find. Talon, Sliver, Wind, Sliver, Gush. These are all fantastic, so we're gonna go just top on all of these, and we're just gonna play the land. It's notable that this can make me lose life, meaning that my opponent can win through combat and through worship. On the plus side, my opponent does not have black mana, so that one works for me. I wonder how many colors they're actually playing. Big play. Yeah, let's counter that just so I can use my mana efficiently. We're gonna draw Talon Sliver. There's the Flying Sliver on top too. So let's just gush. Hopefully we find the Crystalline Sliver. Ask and you shall receive, I guess. Oh, I messed it up. I played it wrong. I wanted to play Talon Sliver there. Obviously blocks much better against these things, but it's fine. Shroud plus Flying is a pretty sexy combination of keywords. Gemstone Mine. Okay, so my opponent's mana is now unlocked, so they can start to deal damage with these dudes. So you do have to be wary of that. Infiltrator. So that one's gonna have to die. Nice top deck. And I think I'm just gonna do this now. My opponent could have counter magic in their deck. Now we go with Muscle Sliver, take 5. I've been drawing really well. I'm not gonna lie. These top decks have been very kind to me. Next turn we get an attack for 7, down to 8, and then lethal on the following turn. So unless my opponent has some kind of sweeper, they're going to be in pretty rough shape. Damn, I'm just gonna continue drawing banger after banger. I think I actually want to pass the turn here. The reason is I can potentially gush into either counterspell or foil. My opponent just backs it. So Wizards. Wizards. So we saw the bouncing permanents Wizards, which makes me very scared of playing Mox Diamond, but I unfortunately don't think there's much I can do about it. I just have to hope that I have the proper counterspell / removal spell at the time. I guess I could. Ooh, this is like a potentially decent Cursed Totem matchup. Let's cut one Hibernation Sliver. Actually, let's cut both of them. It's the only sliver with a keyword that I have going on. And I guess we can bring in another Winged Sliver, so I can fill up my 20 creature quota. And then I guess I just got the foil. I don't know if I'm going to need some disenchant effects. I'm probably going to need more information, so I'm just going to submit this. Maybe Essence Sliver is good. Let's just, I guess, bring in the 1 copy over Talon Sliver. I don't think we're going to be doing too much creature combat. My creatures are just bigger than my opponents. Yeah, I guess I'm into that, so let's just do this. This just puts me in a spot where, like, I don't think that first strikes really matters when all of my dudes are just going to be bigger than my opponents. Like, the only way that my dudes are not larger than my opponents is if I only draw Winged Slivers for the entirety of the game. I guess also Talon Sliver is small. The Victual one seems maybe a little bit medium. Just a little bit hard to cast, because we're going to need, like, our Plains as a white source, and then a Mox, like a rainbow land. So no lander. Obviously gonna ship this. This one's good though. Yeah, this one's real good. What do I bottom? I guess I bottom the Plated Sliver? This is actually super interesting. Knowing that my opponent has Finkles, I definitely don't want to bottom the Swords to Plowshares. Like, I'm going to want to have some interaction. Opponent moves to 6. Keep this, and I think I'm just gonna bottom the Plated Sliver. This means that I'm gonna be able to win races, and this means that my things are untouchable. Portent myself, looking for a white source. This is fine. Yeah, I'll take this. And I'd rather have second Crystalline Sliver than second Counterspell, because I'm gonna be fetching for a white source on 2, as opposed to holding up Counterspell. Clean mana over there. Meddling Mage. That's right, that's a wizard. I wonder if humans is decent in this format. If I actually enjoy this and I want to, which I have, by the way, I think that the next deck that I want to be playing may be Soldiers. I've been actually thinking about building a Soldiers deck for real Premodern for a while, and it seems very cool. My opponent name is Crystalline Sliver, the Madman. I'm gonna just plow this right now. Portent first. No lands mean that I'm gonna be shuffling these away. Man, I really want that Swords to Plowshares, but that's 2 uncastables. I don't want to mess with 2 uncastables, even though I just drew another uncastable. Interrogator, right on time. That Mox Diamond. Okay, my opponent's deck's kind of fire, I'm not gonna lie. They got all the spicy cards. Patron Wizard. Oh my god. How do I ever beat that? Wow. Well, Curse Totem seems insane against my opponent. I do get to attack here, which is nice, but I don't think I'm really getting ahead. This is pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, this card is insane. Opponent does not take the block. You're just gonna pass the turn. Not play anything because it's gonna get countered. I'm gonna play out City of Brass as opposed to playing the Mox Diamond, I think. So Interrogator's ability can only be used at sorcery speed, so I think we're just going to pass the turn back here. If my opponent doesn't want to cast any spells, I think I'm okay with that. I can also use this counter spell to like stop whatever thing they play next and take it from there. Oh, they're just gonna interrogate me. Okay, sounds good. So I have to choose a card and my opponent discards it. So there's my Mox Diamond. You can have that one. Cool. I think we're just gonna go in here. I'm gonna take this window to cast this Muscle Sliver. If my opponent has Force Spike, I get super blown out. But if they don't, now I just get to be aggressive. Lava Man. I mean, that's something else that gets to counter my spells. So Sliver, I think Crystalline Sliver is just getting in there. My opponent gets to trade Patron Wizard and something else for this Sliver, which I'm okay with because I just deploy a second Crystalline Sliver and we move on. This is the turn to do this, by the way, because next turn my opponent can potentially like double block here and then just Grim Lava Monster my Muscle Sliver, which would obviously be a pretty big problem. They do decide to trade. Here's another Crystalline Sliver. They could have Counterspell. Oh, Plow. That's fine. Alright, so that's cool, I think. As long as my opponent doesn't have another Patron Wizard, we're looking pretty good. This is really neat. Island would be my best draw. I don't think Wind Sliver really does anything here. I'd rather hold up Counterspell. My opponent doesn't have enough fodder for the Lava Man to raise me, and City of Brass actually hits them every time they want to activate, so yeah, they don't even want to. Yeah, there's Patron Wizard, so now we can counterspell. Living up a Darker Waste instead of City of Brass is an interesting move there. That's a nice one. So I could cast Blade Sliver. I don't think my opponent has Force Spike because we ran into it a couple of turns ago. I didn't have it, so it's not necessarily super likely they have it. I think they probably have another Swords to Plowshares. Alternatively, I could just do nothing. I just swing with Crystalline Sliver, holding back Counterspell once again. The problem is I kind of want to play a 3-drop this turn, so that next turn I can double spell. I get either Wing Sliver or Curse Totem plus Counterspell or something. I guess it's better. Let's actually do this. I think it's better for me to pass the turn, because I can swing for 2 and I can present Surprise Lethal thanks to the Blade Sliver, and I can counter whatever they attempt to play, I think. So this Lava Man needs to do some champ blocking over there, and my opponent also cannot play to the board because they're going to take 1,000,000 damage. Meddling Mage. And I imagine this locks this up. My opponent can counterspell here, but that would tap them out. And if they do that, then I just play Wing Sliver and I just fly through. Sub Wing Sliver. Dude, Slivers are so sick. On to round number 5. No lander. Gotta ship that one. This one's nice. I think we keep this. And I'm gonna, I guess, bottom the Talon Sliver. Because this allows me to go turn 1 Plated Sliver off the Mox and cantrip looking for a land, another island. Okay, so this allows me to gush. Yeah, this is very nice. So we're gonna go top island, top portent, top island, no shuffle. So next turn we're gonna be able to portent again. We're gonna be able to shuffle the redundant island, and then we can gush into hopefully some business. So let's lead on portent. Muscle Sliver is very good. I also get a foil for my troubles. The problem is I'm drawing a redundant island, which I guess I can pitch to the foil, so this seems okay. I guess this is fine. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I draw the Muscle Sliver right now. Swing for 2. Would love to draw a Crystalline. It's probably my best draw. Great basics choice by my opponent, by the way. That's a gorgeous swamp. Smother. Yeah, I guess I'm foiling this. Wow, great draw. Okay, now we're really cooking. So now my dudes are unkillable. They're beefy. And now I guess my best stop deck would be the Winged Sliver. I have to say, I have been drawing like an absolute madman this entire league. I have been drawing well above average, not gonna lie. But what could my opponent have here? Like even something like Infest just doesn't do anything. Infest, Nausea, all of those sweepers that my opponent could realistically be playing because they're not banned. They just don't kill my dudes. Sliver's way too strong. I guess Diabolic Edict would make me sack the Plated Sliver, which is the only removal that does anything at all. Okay, so that's a card that my opponent can play, I guess. So, can I attack? If I attack, my opponent probably blocks, I guess they block Muscle Sliver. They can block probably the Plated Sliver. My opponent can block Muscle. That means they sack 2 dudes, but now my dudes become small, so I guess the only one that I don't want to attack with is Muscle. The other 2 I can swing with, just to keep on the pressure. So they can block Plated Sliver, and that's effectively a double Stone Rain, which I think it's a fine trade for us. Sack both swamps, and now send the turn back. The good thing is, like, my opponent just cannot attack here. So I guess my opponent's playing Horrors? I mean, it's either Horrors or Phyrexians, I would assume. Well, that answers that question. I assume they're just playing this because they want to have stuff on board. Oh, they swing. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not blocking that. So now I can swing for 5. Nice pickup. Really nice pickup. Kind of an incredible pickup. Yeah, I'm drawing just complete gasoline here. I think my opponent's just attempting to throw stuff under the bus so that they can race me with Negator, but this just completely blanks that game plan. Another Fiend. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to plow the Negator now. They gain 5, but like we got rid of the Negator. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We get to continue attacking. I think I just play that out. It sucks, but it is what it is. Opponent being super defensive. Our best draw here obviously going to be Gush. Rager. Another Horror. I never noticed there's so many good Horrors in Premodern. Dothy Horror? Let's go. That's very cool. So let's play Crystalline, and then we're just gonna play another Crystalline. Not a Winged Sliver, but that's fine. And because of portents that I can be drawing, I don't want to use Flooded Strand. I love how Dothy Horror has double evasion. It's just Shadow and also white creatures with Shadow can't block it. Alright. Winged Sliver? One time? No. Flooded Strand's not super great for us. I guess we can swing with both of these. We get to trade for Factory and get some damage in. I think that's fine. Maybe that's a little bit too aggressive. Okay, so they can block plus pump. Okay, I wonder if they have something to... No, just a chump block. Okay, well that was a really good exchange for me, I think. Also, my opponent just did nothing for their entire turn. Last turn, I'm assuming that they just have a bunch of removal that they cannot use. We take 2 from the Dothy Horror attack. Let's see if they do something else. This Muscle Sliver has been pulling some heavyweight. Cabal Therapy. Sounds good to me. My hand sucks. Reanimate my Crystalline Sliver. That's very smart. Okay, I was not expecting that. That's very cool. So we cannot really attack anymore. The problem is, all of the boost that I give my own slivers, I'm also giving my opponent. So if I swing here, we trade slivers, I'm only left with the Muscle Sliver. I think I'm just passing the turn. I think we have to pivot now. We have to play a little bit more defensively. We're gonna start getting served by this Dothy Horror, but wow, okay, now we're in trouble. It's not quite good. So let's play one of these lands that don't do anything and pass the turn back. Yo, so this Crystalline Sliver card's pretty messed up, huh? That was an insane reanimate. Absolutely insane reanimate. Untap. Not drawing great. We're gonna have to play this out because these Flooded Strands are officially dead because I'm gonna be taking 4. I guess I'm just dead on board if my opponent decides to not play around anything. It's funny, I was saying how well I was drawing, and then my deck was like, oh, right? You're drawing well, huh? Let me show you what not drawing well is. Just bringing balance to the force. Okay, so they decide to play around things. And we draw Counterspell. Not quite. Okay, game number 2. We want Essence Sliver and Worship. I think we're going to want Winged Sliver number... Ooh, actually? Let's bring in Ray of Revelation. This one for sure. Now it's going to be a matter of, do we rather have Winged Sliver or would we rather have Talon Sliver? I think Talon-Sliver is just better. So foil comes out. Don't love counterspell. I think I'd rather have Disenchant. The reason for Disenchant is because of Dystopia. That's the single card that I'm the most scared of. Once again, Hibernation Sliver. I don't think this is what the game's gonna be about. We can cut a Wing Sliver because I think my other ones are just better. We just cut the counterspells. We're gonna say go with this. I'm usually not a big fan of the counterspells against black decks. They're pretty good at working around them, either by using this card or by just making stuff weird for you. Man, that Reanimate though, good stuff. So I guess we're just not gonna be trading. Oh, this hand. Yeah, I think we have to ship it. This one's nice though, so keep this, bottom one Flooded Strand, and we can go turn one Plated Sliver, and just play some stuff up the curve. Duress is gonna whiff. I think that I value Wing Sliver higher than Talon Sliver. I may be wrong about this. Maybe it should be the other way around. But with I think being on the play, I'm going to value Wing Sliver higher, and being on the draw, I'm going to value Talon Sliver higher. There's also the fact that Wing Sliver is better against Dystopia. No, this card is good. Okay, Portent. I've been smothered. Yeah, this one's we're going to shuffle. Like, I really want the Mox, but I just cannot afford to draw 2 islands in a row. So this is just going to be play Sliver and attack for 1. Let's see what we draw. Gush. Good. Dystopia. Exactly. Exactly what we expected. Gonna sack the Plated Sliver. Start off with Gush. Crystalline and Winged. We can play both if we wanted to. Do we have to? I think it's fine. I guess they're gonna have to pay some life with this, so I do get to race here. Then I get to Gush again next turn. We have to sack the Talon Sliver. And I'm effectively just going to be racing this Dystopia, or I have to find my Disenchant. That's a good draw for them. Really good draw for them. Oh, they take the Sliver. Interesting. I think I would have taken the Gush there. Okay, so I sack my Sliver. I guess I'm going to play the island, and we're just going to have to sack the Crystalline Sliver, unfortunately. This Dystopia is doing so much work. Now they have to pay 2. We then take 3. Dothy Horror. That's a clock. That is a clock. Untap, Crystalline Sliver goes away, float mana and Gush. Let's see what we draw. I didn't Gush last turn because there's just too many ways that it goes bad. So let's just play this down. I think we're dead now. Like, I don't think we can really win this game anymore. I think my opponent is going to be able to race me faster than I'm going to be able to race them. And also I have like a bunch of 4-drops that don't do anything. So I guess my out is for my opponent to choose to not pay for Dystopia. And for me, okay, yeah, so now I have to draw Worship. If I draw Worship now, I can potentially be in a situation where I can hold up. This turn I can hold back both Slivers to block, and they first strike, so that's nice. So we're taking 8 here, down to 8. Reanimate Crystalline, okay. So now I have to play, okay, that's not bad. So Portent, myself, anything there. So we're just gonna shuffle and say yes, play a land, pass the turn. And now I guess I chump Crystalline. Oh, I guess my opponent can force me to double chump, so I'm just dead now. They reanimate on Crystalline. So if they swing with everything, including the factory, we are just dead. But if they don't, then I can jump block with Talon Sliver, keep back Winged Sliver, and then top deck exactly Worship. But it seems like my opponent is just gonna serve, which makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to... Yeah, I don't have outs anymore. So I don't have outs. I guess I can Gush. I still have outs, so I have to top deck Gush and then Gush into exactly Worship plus Plated Sliver. But not good enough. All right, that was cool. My opponent's deck is super nice. Opponent's deck looked very good. I did not see a single Dark Ritual. I was surprised about that, but this was awesome. All right, see you for the last one. Last round of this Tribal League, once again in Olander. So let's ship that one. Okay, I guess we can keep this one. And I'm gonna bottom the redundant Mox. I think I wanna go turn 1 Mox and just play a Flooded Strand. Man, do I wanna expose the Muscle Sliver? Yeah, I probably have to. I mean, I guess I can not play the Mox Diamond. Whoa, my opponent's playing 100 cards? Okay, yeah, I guess I'm gonna just YOLO here. We're just going to hope that my opponent's deck is clunky and they don't find a removal spell. The 100 card deck, that's not one you see every day. Green mana, boom. It's actually a great pickup. This allows me to protect all my Slivers now. Yeah, this is working out great. How does my opponent even fill up a deck with 100 cards here? We're gonna get a nice little healthy attack for 8 here. It's not half bad. Play out the Paradise, swing for 5. We get to double plow here. If my opponent attempts to plow one of my dudes, I can just bounce it and recast it. Opponent does get a library activation though. No life paid. Flooded Strand, shuffle. Oh man, they're gonna get to the brand new look now. White, white, green. Man, what is my opponent up to over there? Foil. Ugh, one mana source away from that one. They attempt to plow, gonna pay 2 life. They only take 2. We get to recast the Sliver. That Hibernation Sliver top deck was kind of insane. Obviously, it would have been better as a Crystalline Sliver, but that's a very, very good second best Sliver top deck, I guess. I wonder if my opponent is using Oath. What? How does that even work? Whoa. I mean, I have to allow them to trigger Oath and just hope that they don't flip something like a Chosen, but they need to be playing 20 creatures. I am very intrigued by whatever my opponent is cooking with over there. Just a casual Acroma, no big deal. They're playing Tribal Angels? Tribal Angels? Bro, that's insane. So I can just... I think I'm gonna take the 6 damage here. And I'm just gonna Source to Plowshares on end step, but I may need to foil something here. Am I foiling this Tron Dynamo? I think I am. That is a lot of mana. I am going to have to plow this Acroma though. And now we swing for 5 again. Opponent down to 6. We have to hope they don't flip another Acroma. Eternal Dragon. It was literally on top of the deck, that's hilarious. So one thing we can do here is we can actually swing. Whatever my opponent blocks, I just bounce to my hand. Wrath of God. Gonna have to pay 2 life to return both. And then I guess we just redeploy both of them. Yep. So, play Hibernation, play Muscle. We're just gonna have to take the Oath trigger here. At least we're not really worried about Eternal Dragon, which is nice. Opponent's down to 1 card in hand. My opponent's deck is really playing the meta. I can't believe that they figure out a way to make Oath of Druid sick. Rhea Dawnbringer. Oh my god. It really is. It really is Angel Tribal. That is so smart. I love this. That is so freaking smart. I love it. So they can get something back with Rhea. So I guess I plow. They gain 4. I have Winged Sliver, so I get to bounce my dudes. I get to fly through the Nantuko Monastery. Well, that is what we're doing. I guess my opponent could technically attempt to plow, probably the Winged Sliver, and then block with Nantuko Monastery. Looks like they're not doing that. And we're not going to be playing around the Wrath. I don't think we can afford to. And I need to go wide because I need to figure out... I just need to make sure that I can attack through whatever my opponent has next turn. Iridescent Angel. So as is, we have lethal here. So my opponent needs to find a Wrath effect or something like that. Exalted Angel. I have draws. I have draws here. So I can go... If I find any Pump Sliver... That's not one of them. So I swing with everything. They block here and here. And I bounce both. They only take 4, so I guess I'm dead. So I guess I have to pass the turn. This is not great. So I have to pass back. And I have to hope, I guess I draw a Gush or something. Man, it's really easy. It's really hard to beat Oath of Druids. They found another Rhea. On the plus side, they can't really attack unless they find something else. Opponent got there and I moved to 5. Very impressive. Okay, so that Angel gets in there. So now I need to find, I guess, another Muscle Sliver. No, not even. Because even if I find another Muscle Sliver... Oh, never mind. Okay, so we're probably just dead now. I guess I can Gush into something very good, potentially. Yeah, that's not it. Alright, so we definitely want these. And the counter spell. Plated Sliver doesn't seem super good, but I guess I can't really side all of them out. So I'm going to side one of them out. I guess 2 of them because I'm going to bring in the Blade Sliver. Winged Sliver is probably better than... I guess Bladed Sliver allows me to get some attacks in, so it's not that bad. I think I'm just going to cut some Source to Plowshares. Go down to 2, maybe down to 1. Yeah, let's go with that. Yes, this looks good. Keep. Yeah, this hand looks pretty strong. So my best row would be an Island or another Flooded Strand. Turn 1 Crystalline Sliver, get the party started. Play Mox, pitch City. My opponent showed me that they have Mox Diamonds, so they could technically play an Oath on turn 1, but I don't think I'm supposed to play around that from the 100 card deck. Don't have to worry about Source to Plowshares is also nice. Whoa, my opponent had the library. Okay, never mind. I guess turn 1 Mox is very, very real. I don't think... Can I Portent here? Can I take the turn off? So they don't have Oath, otherwise they obviously would have played Oath instead of this. So I guess I'm gonna Portent looking for an Island, because Oath is literally the main thing that I'm worried about here. Yeah, I guess I'm keeping these. So no shuffle. We do draw the Island here, so we can still foil if we need to. going to really hope that we don't have to foil. But Plated Sliver is not super hot. It is at least something that I can deploy while still holding up Counterspell. So that part is very cool. Opponent Pace Life, Powder Keg. Again, if they want to blow up my Mox Diamond, I'm okay with that, I think. Okay, so they just let me untap. Let's play a land, play Plated Sliver. Like at this point, Crystalline Sliver has to just... If they're saving this Powder Keg to get rid of the Crystalline, then I think that's fine with me. Looks like that's what they're trying to do. Enlightened Tutor resolves. They do get Oath, which we're obviously going to counter. Counter that, we got a nice little clean 2-for-1 there. Not bad. We're going to draw another island here, which is not great, but we do get to get in there for 3. Hold up, foil, in case my opponent wants to Wrath or something. Curse Scroll. That is actually quite annoying, so I think I'm foiling this. Maybe that's a little bit too aggressive, but with the Powder Keg getting rid of the Crystalline Sliver, it's kind of a problem. So most of the slivers I can get here are going to be 2 CMC, so I'm just going to wait for my opponent to... Could have technically found the Blade Sliver there. So now let's gush, see what we find. That's some good stuff. That's some real good stuff. Get that one and send the turn back. We can gush again next turn. Hibernation Sliver is basically Crystalline at home, but Crystalline at home is still pretty good. Opponent can't really Wrath. Play another island, swing for 3. I guess I want to play Talon, send the turn back. So at this point, Oath may not even be good enough. Talon Sliver makes it so I can just allow an Oath to trigger and it's not gonna do enough. Curse Totem, I think that's fine. With only 2 mana left, I think that's okay. Untap, Crystalline. So I'm just gonna gush here, because if I find Muscle Sliver, we win. I guess we also have that one, so that's cool. Okay, so disenchant the Curse Totem. Okay, opponent just backs it in. Cool. Let's go on to game number 3. Anything we'd want to change? We could cut the last Swords to Plowshares and just basically hope that my opponent never resolves a creature. This allows me to put something to be able to play another creature and play, you know, put more pressure, but I think that this is better. This hand would be great if we had access to something that we could cast, or a Mox. Ugh, guess I'm keeping this, bottom the island. Curse Scroll. Okay, don't care about that one for a while. That's a good pickup. So let's cast that one on turn 1. Yeah, let's pitch the island and play Crystalline. I'd rather have the fetch land. Like, obviously we can draw a foil and be punished by this, but like having access to the fetch land makes my portents better. So now Curse Scroll is effectively blanked thanks to the Crystalline, but we need to find answers to Wrath of God, and we already have the answer to the Oath, so we're not really worried about that. Opponent fetches for a white source. Just talked about how having foil is punishing. This is gonna be a lot of value for my opponent, so I think we're just gonna disenchant this library here. I'm not super stoked about it, but like, we don't really have that much of a clock. Would love to find something like Ray of Revelation. That's probably my best draw here. I guess Gush, as it often is the case. Gush is just the best draw. Seal of Cleansing. That's actually pretty annoying on the Mox. I'm surprised they still have this in their deck. No land drop is huge. So now we don't have foil, but having drawn Counterspell gives me a sense of tranquility. Really don't want my opponent to draw a Treat of Village. That would be a disaster. Powder Keg. That's Counterspell worthy right there. Get rid of that. City of Brass. Okay, that's not a great draw, but a land at least allows me to hold up foil. So it's not nothing. And 2 points at a time. Slowly but surely chugging along. The little sliver that could. It's only 10 attacks. Mox Diamond. Resolves. Oath. Nah, that one does not resolve. That one is a no-no. Now we do have to be worried about Wrath though. Portent. Not bad. Don't hate it at all. Hibernation, another Portent. Yes, I'm game for this. So no shuffle, play my land, swing for 2. We got our Hibernation Sliver, so that's gonna be some pretty nice insurance. Morph, now that's a problem. So Portent myself, Crystalline another one. I don't think we need that, so let's put them in any order and shuffle. And then we're going to play Hibernation. And we're gonna offer the trade here, because if my opponent flips this Angel, it's kind of unbeatable. They trade. Interesting. Wow, okay. Does that mean they have another Exalted Angel? Okay, I'll pay 2 life to protect from the Curse Scroll. Definitely okay with this. They just use their entire turn to do that. Okay, those are some good pickups. So, black and blue, and then Muscle Sliver. Send it back. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. They can activate Scroll, target my Muscle Sliver, which I can save. So they're effectively just Curse Scroll in my face every turn. That's kind of effectively what's going on. So let's replay Paradise, play Muscle again, swing for 3, play another Hibernation. We're paying a lot of life, but I think we are going to be racing my opponent just fine, especially thanks to this Blade Sliver. Although I guess this is going to get bounced, so it's a little bit annoying. Yeah, okay. So let's play out the Blade Sliver. This is going to force the Curse Scroll on the Muscle Sliver. I could roll the dice and just like take a 50-50, but no need to, I don't think. So now they go down 1 and portent myself. Turns out disenchanting that Sylvan Library ended up being really good. We can play double Muscle next turn, but I don't need that. I kind of want Gush, so I think I'm just gonna shuffle here. Draw a card, Talon Sliver, not great. They can Wrath, I save. I guess I just save both Hibernation Slivers because Blade Sliver doesn't matter anymore with my opponent being at 1. Man, what a sick deck my opponent put together. Really awesome. Wow, we got there. Dude, Hibernation Sliver, let's go. Finally came up that this was amazing. Alright folks, there you have it. 5-1, a pretty decent result for a very first run. This format was a lot of fun. I feel like there's a lot of things to explore here. Man, what a crazy deck Casey put together. That was my favorite so far. But yeah, slivers are very strong. I think that all of this synergy can be a little bit understated, and you know, it's not as easy to pick up when you're playing regular Premodern, when there's so many decks that can kind of go over the top of what you're doing. But once you are in a situation where you have a lot of creature combat, you really see how powerful all of this can be. Especially, you know, something like Talon Sliver can really dominate combat. Like my opponent, when they were playing beasts, they were going super wide around me, and I was just being able to hold all of them back thanks to, like, you know, 5 or 6 slivers that were just chilling there. That was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, this format was a lot of fun. I highly recommend you check it out. Yeah, thank you so much to the Magic Online Society for putting this together. Like, being able to you know, allow for events like this, I would foster, you know, people, maniacs like me, to go into the you know, the workbench and start to actually brew and figure something out with these new restrictions. I feel like it's, you know, restrictions do breed creativity, and that is exactly what we saw in this league. Every deck that I played again was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, it's like a brand new format with everything that we love about Premodern in terms of not needing to deal with Wizards of the Coast and all of that stuff, which I love. It's a breath of fresh air, something new to try out, and something like a monthly league doesn't really get in the way of the normal Premodern leagues, because you have, like, you know, a full month to be able to play 6 games. That seems very doable. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to be thinking a lot about creature combat, which sometimes that can be a little bit overlooked. But this was a lot of fun. I highly recommend you give it a shot. You know, go ahead and just join the leagues on the Magic Online Society. Highly recommend it. And yeah, see what you can come up with. Have some fun. I already have another deck that I'm really looking forward to give another shot to. And yeah, let's keep this thing alive. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care and have fun. Bye bye.